I have stumbled onto something big. Bigger than discovering that the Bite of 87 was actually the Bite of 83. Better than finding that the marionette was connected to the entire Pizzaplex, and crazier than illusion discs and robot kids. Strap in, because it's time for a theory. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of it all, I would ask that you all remember that this is all a theory and something I have been working on for the last couple weeks, but has been in my head for years, ever since I first saw some of these games. To start off, let's go back to where it all began, at least for me. Five Nights at Freddy's 3, the game that started the switch in gameplay mechanics but was otherwise chock full of lore, from its phone guy to minigames. But I don't want to go into the minigames, as those have already been inspected and dissected. Oh no. I want to draw your attention somewhere else, to something that I have long thought overlooked. One simple, seemingly thrown away line.
But, like I said, we're trying to track down a good lead right now. Some guy who helped design one of the buildings says there was like an extra room that got boarded up, or something like that.
Huh, that's strangely convenient. For a franchise where the color of a wristband can have a whole slew of meanings, the seemingly accepted idea that this line is just a means to an end never sat right with me. But I figured, oh well, it's just that, it's fine. But as I got further into the rabbit hole that are these games and their accompanying books, I was more and more convinced we were missing something. Something big. Fast forward to the release of Five Nights at Freddy's Ruined DLC. I know, it's a huge jump, but bear with me, because at this point I was sure there was something we were missing, but I wasn't sure what. But then, as I was experiencing Ruin, the line that everyone always notices and draws attention to right early in the game when Cassie picks up that Fraz wrench.
A Faz wrench? It's just like my dad's.
Then the gears started to turn, but still I needed something else. And I'd find that something later in the game when we find Bonnie's lunchbox where it has the description, Bonnie was my dad's favorite. That was it. I needed to go back. Back to that first, strange, seemingly normal line. And then it clicked. Why, in a world with rebuilt kids, and stolen rebuilt kids, and robots pretending to be people, would a man, a broken but genius man whose only goal was the reunition and immortalization of his family, a man who has been researching a new science known as Remnant that would be the source of all these different paths to life, why wouldn't he have built himself first? In the Pizzeria Simulator, one of the introductory videos is an orange man that is also a purple man, which seems to hint that they are interchangeable, or parallel. In Midnight Motorist, we see an orange man that can't be Afton, but at the same time could only be Afton. Because it is, just not the same one. In the end of Five Nights at Freddy's 4, we get a slightly lighter yellow text saying, I will put you back together, which, while still being Afton, maybe hints at an Afton with a more specific motive, or slightly different motive. In the games of Five Nights at Freddy's 3, we see a strange shadow Bonnie that is described in the Ultimate Guide as to take on a purple hue. And while it is generally accepted that the Glitch Trap virus was able to get where it was via the circuit board supplied by Vanny, it's interesting to note that one of the people responsible for scanning in those circuit boards was a man named Stephen Wilson, whose name is directly translated to Son of William. And with it being impossible for it to be Michael, it could mean that another being created by William. And that line that I always go back to, that same strange line that spawned all of this, is mentioned also in the Ultimate Guide, only the tip is said to have come from the original designer of the building. And with Afton not only being a controlling psycho, but also a genius designer, it would be strange if he had someone else design his own building. Wouldn't it? On page 175 of the Ultimate Guide, another seemingly thrown away line. The cease work order from the Fazbear Entertainment Office of Legal Affairs seems to indicate that the company at some point becomes aware of the problem and tries to put a stop to it. That leaves one question. Just who is running the company? This seems to hint that whoever's controlling the company is important, and we know it's not Vanny. So who is it? In the survival logbook, the tallies, and the do you remember could be Afton to his created body trying to bring him to life, using the data of himself. But one of the biggest pieces of evidence here is his favorite toy, a purple telephone. The same purple telephone we see Purple Guy holding. This is Afton, making sure that in the case of his death, his mission, his purpose could continue, through the robot he created himself that he trained on data of himself. For all the other things in the logbook, it was found by Michael in the sister location after the Afton bot had already been using it to learn about Afton. This is also supported in the self-reflection part, or the mirror, where Afton and the Afton bot can see each other as mirrors of each other. And as said before, when Cassie says, "It's like my dad's Fazwrench," and his favorite character is Bonnie, which has from the beginning always been associated with William Afton. So this other Afton, this robot Afton, set himself up within Freddy Fazbear's and has constantly been working to keep his family together from the shadows, with him being the one to bring Vanessa on as the head of security. And remembering how Elizabeth was killed by her favorite animatronic made it so that Roxy would always protect Cassie, her favorite animatronic, superseding the glitch trap of any control over it, suggesting a similar intellect and programming ability. And if that's not enough, I have one last piece of evidence. Why is the Glitch Bunny, the security that is meant to keep the Mimic trapped deep underground, the Mimic that Afton stole by the way, why is it a rabbit? Think about it. Why would Gregory make a security AI based around the thing that has been chasing him around and trying to kill him all throughout the previous game? And why is it the same color as the favorite of Cassie's dad, a blue rabbit? So could it be possible that lurking in the dark of this entire franchise, watching and waiting, buying his time, the very first human bot built by Afton himself? But hey, that's just a theory. A game! I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Keep on theorizing, and I'll see y'all next time.